All right, guys, welcome to the Keto Masterclass. For those that have just joined a little bit late, this is the first time I'm doing it. This is going to be a condensed version of my 8-week program. I have obviously bullet points and things I want to touch on, but feel free at any point to use the chat box and just unmute yourself if you guys have questions. I want you guys to get a ton of value out of this. I want you guys to get laser focused on what you guys are doing in keto and for your mindset. And I also want you to feel like you're getting custom coaching in a group setting, because I'm sure if you have a question, other people have questions too. Everyone with me so far, just give me a nod. And the only people I can see is Deborah and Kelly. So, and Joylyn I can see. And then you guys want to keep if you want to keep your screens off, that's totally fine too. But again, super interactive, and we're all friends here, and this is a safe space. So, and then if you guys are not comfortable asking questions, like, of course, I'm going to, I can answer questions in a private chat or something like that as well. And Doris just used the chat box for the first time, and she says she's silently nodding. Awesome. Okay, so first and foremost, I just wanted to say thank you for joining. I really do appreciate you guys putting your trust in me, especially spending the money to join this kind of masterclass. You guys are like I said, my guinea pigs on this too. So I do appreciate y'all spending the time with me. It really does genuinely mean the world to me. And I always knew it was like my mission to want to help people. I really, struggled for a really, really, really long time, over 12 years, 13, I don't even know, I lost count at this point. With my own health, I have read all the blogs, I've gone down that Google rabbit hole, I've fought for answers to my questions, people that I looked up to in the blogs and the paleo world. When I first started, I just felt like I couldn't ever attain their attention to give me custom advice. So that's why I've created this group. That's why I'm super passionate about helping other people, because I know the suck, and you don't have to embrace the suck. Like, you guys can obviously reach out to me and get the help you need. I can point you in the right direction. We can start working together, whatever you guys want. I'm super flexible and open in terms of that. So I totally understand where you guys are. And stuff like that. So for those that don't know, I have an inflammatory condition. It trashed my joints. So that's why I kind of started this whole journey of health and nutrition. Like I said, I started with the paleo stuff and studied that for a good portion of 10 years, but I felt it never really worked. It definitely felt an increase of energy and I lost weight, but then I started developing bad relationships with food because I thought every single thing was causing inflammation in my body. So I've been up and down on this whole scale of eating really well and then eating Chipotle every day and then eating just up and down, up and down. So I get a lot of opposition sometimes because people think, well, you've never been overweight. Well, actually, one, I have, and two, I've had the emotional attachments to food that we all have. So I've been there, like I said, and I actually started with the ketogenic diet, always glanced over the ketone part of all of the paleo stuff that I studied because I just didn't really understand. And it took me a really long time to get my certifications because the molecular biology stuff. That's why I like to keep it super simple for you guys, because at the end of the day, you don't really need to know how mitochondria function. You just need to know what to eat, when to eat, and why to eat it. And also your lifestyle mindset stuff. So because I went down this whole rabbit hole of whatever, it just got me overwhelmed. And then I found actually exogenous ketones. Again, still not really understanding. I knew what it was, but I didn't really get it. Drank ketones for the first time, and I was actually able to walk down the stairs 1 foot in front of the other for the first time ever. I cannot tell that without getting choked up. So the power of ketones really do help. Again, it's not a pitch. I'm just telling you my story. But it's something that substantially will help you over the long term, and we'll get to that at the end. But because I had that life-changing experience with ketones, I knew ketones was something that everyone needs. Then I went into going back with Mark Sisson, who is a paleo primal health coach and nutritionist, founded in science, which is why I like him so much. Studied with him for 7 months, got my health certifications, and here we are now, still doing group coaching and stuff like that, kind of refining my coaching stuff and using exogenous ketones in my practice as well. So that is a little bit about me. Does anyone have questions so far? No? All good. Awesome. Okay, so what is really important to me is mindset. And I think that's what separates me from a lot of other coaches, blogs, etc. out there, because we work on our mindsets. Because I can give you all of the Keto 101, I could give you Keto Advanced, and I can give you exogenous ketones. The problem is, if you don't have a mindset as to why you are doing what you're doing, you're never going to be able to continue doing what you're doing. Does everyone feel me on that? Yeah? Okay. So really understanding what your why is. Your why is this pull, right? It's your anchor into why you're doing something, and it's something that you can remember when times are tough. So it's beyond your faith, and it's beyond responsibility, because your why is actually your motivation. So why are you guys here? If you don't want to answer out loud, you guys can write it down. I'm kind of just wanting everyone to journal this as we go along. But why did you guys, one, step up here today? And two, why are you on this health journey and wanting to know more about this and how to change? And if anyone wants to share, feel free. Don't be so quiet, y'all. We're all friends here. Or share it in the chat box. Okay, so can I break the ice? Can I put you on? I'm gonna Joylyn or Kelly says feel better overall. Okay, so that's a really good one. That's to feel good overall, but when you are faced with eating a Chipotle burrito and making a better decision at Chipotle, I'm sorry, I always use Chipotle, it's just my favorite thing. When you're faced with a decision of like, do you want to eat that burrito or do you want to make a better decision? What anchors you in? Because being better overall is good, but you want something concrete. Like for me, I want to be able to continue walking, and I don't want to end up in a wheelchair by the time I'm 40. And that's more like concrete. So there's no wrong answer. I just want y'all to like get a good understanding of like what that really is rooted in. Deborah, go ahead. I'm unmuting you.
Did you unmute me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep, you're good.
I think it's just the power, like you said, the mindset that right now I can't have that. You know, right now I don't want it. Right now I'm on a journey and I'm not ready to veer off the road, and I want to keep going. And I don't feel like I want it, you know, right now. That's how I feel right now. Unlike you, maybe once in a while I'll have something, but right now it's not a need for me.
That's awesome. So do you find yourself saying like, I can't, or I don't, or I won't a lot?
No, I won't. I don't think about it. I don't think about, it's not what I need right now. I don't feel that I want it, actually.
That's good.
So far, so good.
No, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing. So what would you say your why is though? So like, because you just don't want it, or it's just, and I'm not talking about food, I'm just talking about like overall like lifestyle change, or like why you're on this journey, like what maybe made you get to a point where you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Right. It's the weight loss. It's over and over trying different things. And years before, you know, this has helped me, but this is a great extension now with adding the ketones. And I feel like I know what I'm doing now through using the ketones. It's helping me. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. So it makes sense to me now.
Awesome. We'll definitely get back to your like why the ketones are connection. Okay. That's perfect. Mm-hmm. Write that down and remind me, because I want to, it all goes together, but we'll get to that at the different section. But no, thank you so much for sharing. I am going to mute you back.
Okay.
And then, okay, cool. So does everyone have like their anchor, what their why is, and stuff like that? Just give me a little nod, yes? Awesome, okay. So limiting beliefs. So this is what knocks you off your path and like gets into your mind of like why you can't achieve your why. A belief, by definition, is an unquestioned notion of certainty about a past, present, or future. In order to establish a new positive mindset, we need to have empowering beliefs, not limiting. But before we do that, we need to understand like what the negative ones are. So a critical component of someone's DNA is actually their belief system. So like the limiting beliefs that you tell yourself will actually manifest in your mitochondria and in your DNA and like change the biochemistry of you. So what are some like negative beliefs that you feel that are holding you back from like achieving your goals? And then I can actually combine this too with like stories. Like what are fantasies that you tell yourself as to why you can't achieve your goal? Or like what's a story that you tell that like justifies why you're making a decision in your either food choices or lifestyle choice or overall choices in general that prevent you from achieving your health goals? I'll give you guys a few seconds to write it down and think about it. Y'all thought you were just getting food talk today, weren't you? Carrie, that's awesome. I loved your share. She said that she started this way of life in January and she just is here because she wants to make sure she's on the correct path. That's awesome. Well, I promise you are. You're in the perfect place. No matter what decision you make, you're always in alignment for where you need to be. Kelly, I like that too. She says that when I think about eating bad, I know it will hurt me and the wrong foods for my body. Perfect. Okay, Doris says that living in a small town and not enough choices is an excuse that she uses to, hi, Deborah's husband or man friend. She says that her living in a small town is an excuse. I love that. I don't love that you say that, but it is a perfect example of an excuse. So for me, an excuse that I always use is I just went to a doctor's appointment and I had a bad time there and I emotionally eat and I just want to go to Chipotle because it's right down the road. It's just a story I tell myself and it's a block that is not good, but like, yeah, it's just not a good overall like statement. Does anyone want to share like what their excuse is and like why they like blame, shame, or justify themselves into making a bad decision or not a perfect decision? Come on, guys.
Yeah, I'll talk.
Okay, good.
So in the past, I started the keto with you in January 1, but in the past, I've done, other programs. And for me, it was, if I saw that I wasn't losing or things weren't, just the scale I was so fixed on the scale and, oh, I didn't lose. So you know what? It's not working. I might as well just eat whatever I want. Yeah. Why am I working so hard and exercising so much? And I'm not going anywhere. So I might as well just eat. Yeah. So I know that was my problem. But now, since starting keto, I have found so much success, just not even with the scale. I mean, I found the success there, but just in my clothing alone. And I see myself going forward with a lot of non-scale victories. I feel so much better. My body just overall feels better. And I tell myself, this is a lifestyle and I want to continue it and I feel great on it. And I don't ever want to go back to what I was feeling or how I was feeling before. So that's kind of how I've changed my mindset. Yeah. just kind of like, I'm happy, I feel great, and I want to continue feeling good. And it doesn't matter what the scale says anymore. My clothes are fitting me better, you know, my sizes are going down. And so that's where I'm at.
Oh, that's amazing. No, I'm super happy that you shared. Thank you. So what would you say is something that might be a story or something that like might actually break you? Because sometimes I've seen, even with myself, like I go so far, this was in the past, but like I would go so far and feel really good, but then something would break me. So like, what would you say is different now because you're on a good path that won't break you, or something that you see might be a potential break, and how are you going to switch your mindset to being better?
Well, I can tell you, like, I'm an emotional eater. So, and I know that. So when I'm stressed, I eat. When I'm sad, I eat, you know, just kind of every happy, I find an excuse to go somewhere and celebrate. But, you know, and I've had the last couple months, I've had ups and downs, and I have just, I don't know, I just don't think about it anymore. I don't think about food that way anymore.
Yeah.
I just kind of like, I'm on this journey, and I just want to continue with it. And I do see, you know, cake is my favorite food group, or was my favorite food group. But, you know, and a piece of cake can break me at any time, but I kind of look at it and don't want it anymore.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's just kind of, I don't know, just that switch just kind of flipped, that I'm like, you know what? I don't need it. I really don't need it.
Super proud of you. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Does anyone else want to pop in and share like what their, for right now, their story is or something like that? Carrie says she tends to view myself in extreme, meaning that if something's not 100%, it's a complete failure, or if I've made progress, but it's not to my end goal, I get angry and for taking so long. Awesome, Carrie. Thanks for sharing. Is that like that's your story that you tell yourself, and then is that what's preventing you from going forward? I'm trying to find you on the thing, so maybe you can. Okay, perfect. She says yes. Awesome. No, I mean, I get it. I'm actually very like similar to you. I actually had to that's when I was talking about how I had to reevaluate my own food, because I was blaming everything else for not reducing my inflammation, right? And that was my end goal, to always reduce my inflammation. But then I was like fully 100%, like I have to eat paleo, keto, and I have to do it. And I have to, like, I was just having really, really bad emotions towards food, that it was becoming unhealthy. And then I don't give myself a chance, and I quit before I've really given myself a chance to work. Yes, I think that's a big thing too. We put so much pressure on ourselves, does everyone agree? That like we have to do it. But we also put a timetable on, okay, well, I should have been here and there, without understanding that our bodies know no timetable, and there's a lot of functions going on underneath the surface that before it even comes up, you might be making progress in a cellular level, but before it comes to your surface, one, it probably has come to your surface, but because we are such critical beings, that we don't really realize that like there's stuff happening. So a lot of the times people come to me and they're like, well, I've been on keto for 6-8 weeks and I haven't seen any results. Well, one, they're probably measuring or on the scale and not measuring. And two, they could be losing, and then they're right on that brink of about to have an amazing transformation, because sometimes we wake up one day and we're like, oh, damn, I'm skinny, or oh, damn, I feel good. And we just don't give ourselves a chance to do that. And it just like, that's when somebody will go and emotionally eat. This is why it's so important to have their anchor of like, what's our why, to make us keep going past that point. So I just think that that's really just something to remember. And Carrie, I 1000% with you. Natalie's with you. Kelly's with you too. So how do we break that pattern? And can everyone hear me? Because I just got a notification that my internet's unstable. Y'all we're good? Okay, perfect. So in order to break that pattern, which I think a lot of you have been doing already, but like really concretely taking responsibility for your health and well-being and extending your hand for help will change your entire life. And I think that's huge because all of you guys have literally extended your hands like, hey, I'm struggling with XYZ, which we'll go into what you're struggling with in a minute. But you're asking for help and you're on that path. So would everyone agree or disagree that they are taking responsibility for their health? Agree? Cool. Okay, so because you guys are agreeing that you're taking responsibility for your health, are you like so taking such responsibility that you feel that you can anchor back into like what your why is? Yay. Awesome. Okay. So what's something that you feel like you might need to take responsibility for that you're probably not being too honest about that could see improvement? I mean, just write it down and share in the chat box or unmute if you want to talk. For me, I definitely think that my Chipotle habit has been on point. My lifestyle, which again we'll go into in like a little bit, but my lifestyle changes because I travel so much are really affecting like my inflammation. And you guys are going to actually notice that like it's not always food, but it's lifestyle choices. So sleep, play, getting outside in the sun, moving your body, hydrating enough, getting your electrolytes, really using our brains and being, creative, whether it's like artwork or listening to music or meditating or something like that, keeping that stress down. And then the self-talk is really important. So I think my self-talk needs improvement. And I think my sleep and stress definitely need to be improved. So those are things I'm going to personally take responsibility for when I can be home for more than 3 hours. But I'm trying to make better responsibilities. So like I can't really, hold on, Karen, I'll unmute you. Let me just find you. I think you are unmuted. Go ahead. Hold on. Okay.
Am I here?
Yep. There you go. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hey.
No worries.
I think my thing is, I know I try not to just delve into everything all at once. Like I have to take a little bit of time. So mine is working on the keto lifestyle, and I say lifestyle because that's what I want. I don't want it. I want instant gratification, but it's not coming. But it's okay. Keep the faith. But the things I'm going to work on this month is.
Oh. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on a second. I muted you by accident. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I was trying to figure out this app. Sorry. So my thing that I'm working on in March is sleep, and I am guilty of not moving enough. So those are my 2 goals for this month.
Perfect.
And it all goes with my lifestyle that I want. I just want a healthier lifestyle. I'm getting ready to retire in a few short years, and I've got grandchildren, and I just want to be the best I can be.
Well, that's awesome.
And I started drinking the ketones about 3 or 4 months ago, and I think they've made a huge difference. And
great.
So I haven't been losing the weight as fast as some people, but I'm really trying hard. That's another thing is I have to stay off of, sometimes I have to stay off of the internet and all these people that say, oh, I'm dropping 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and my weight loss has not been like that. But it's like I'm really trying hard not to compare myself with somebody else because this is my journey, and I have to keep telling myself that.
Good. I like that. So are you open to some coaching right now about what I think your responsibility could be?
Well, I'm sorry, say that again.
Are you open to some coaching on like what I think your responsibility could be?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so I think from what I'm hearing is that you do a lot of comparisons. And then
I do.
Okay, so I think your responsibility is to remember that you're on your own journey, so own your own journey, and don't compare yourself to someone else because you are unique and you are on your own path to health and wellness, and like someone else's might not be as you are.
Right. And I have to always tell myself that. I always have to say, this is, you know, I'm in this for my lifetime. I'm not in this for, you know, the next 6 months or a year. And yeah, I constantly have to tell myself that, you know.
Yeah.
My body's not the same. My hormones aren't the same as someone else. So I just have to keep looking at how to improve myself and what I can do to make the situation better.
Good. Proud of you. Okay, Natalie,
But hard times. It's really hard.
what was that, Karen?
Sometimes it's really hard.
Oh, it is for sure. I mean, I definitely compare too. So don't worry, that's gonna be your thing. So like, let's check back in a couple weeks and see how it's going. Natalie, go ahead. What is your responsibility and things that you
Well, I have to kind of agree with the last speaker to not compare myself to others. My journey's been slow. My pant size have gone down, but the scale hasn't. So I know there's something going on, that it's working. And I don't have a lot to lose. My goal was to lose 10 pounds, but I found in the journey that my arthritis in my hands is much better. My knees, my performance when I'm doing CrossFit. I'm 57. I'm a grandma of 5. I horseback ride with them. I run with them. I bike with them. So my goal is to really stay physically fit with everyone. And I'm finding with the keto and the ketones that I'm able to do that.
Awesome. So did I just hear you right that you had said that you are upset because the scale's not moving, but your body's shrinking?
Yep. I'm actually down 2 pant sizes. I'm back in my size 5, 6s.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
Okay, so that's good. So are you open to some directive and coaching?
You betcha. That's what I'm here for.
Perfect. I want you to throw away your scale.
I know you say that all the time. I do not live by the scale. I get on every 2 weeks because I'm in a contest at the gym with everyone. So I get weighed every 2 weeks. And that's all I do at the scale.
So if you can't throw away the scale, then I want you to detach, if you can, your emotion from that scale number, because it honestly doesn't mean anything, especially because you're drinking ketones. And this is something that I had a hard time with because I'm now 135 and I've been 120 my entire life. Well, except when I was back really underweight with my bad health, but it was very, 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 very hard for me to see that number. But what I do is realize that I've got my booty back and I've got muscles in my legs, and I'm genuinely stronger in my like arms and back and chest. That's where that number comes from. So I take that number and I realize that I'm physically stronger. So the higher the number, the stronger I am. And I just want everyone to remember that like that scale doesn't mean shit. So please, please, please.
Oh, I agree.
Like, no, yeah, no, it's just for everyone too. Like, it's hard because our expectations in the society that bombards us with like the scale number and the super skinny chicks on the magazines and stuff like that. It's really hard to not do that, even though like I sometimes see that number. I'm like, when I go get my meds and stuff, I'm like, dang, but I've kind of reframed it like, okay, I'm good. I'm happy with that. So just want to touch on that for a second. So awesome. Thanks for sharing, Natalie. I'm really proud of you. You've been doing a great job and all that. Doris, did you still want to share?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Mine, it seems like, and I recognize that this is something that I do to myself. Every time I try to get healthy, I sabotage myself. I'm doing well. I'm really doing strong. And I don't know if I get bored with it or I get lazy with it, but I start cheating.
Yeah.
And then before I know it, I'm back to square one and I give up. And with the keto, I was doing good. I started probably doing a little bit like a lazy keto during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost about 20 pounds. I've got 60 more to go. And am catching myself, especially now that I'm doing the ketones, that, if I want to cheat, I can just use my ketone to get back on. And because you always hear that, everybody's always saying, jump back on your ketones. It's okay to have it every so often. Well, my problem is that every so often gets closer and closer together.
Okay.
And I am finding and then I get mad at myself and I'm like, oh, great. I've been in like a standstill, like probably the last month and a half, because I'm using excuses, vacation. I did pretty good, most of it, but I would have occasionally this and that. Well, I got my ketone. Well, then every so often I forget to drink my ketone, or I don't have time to drink my ketone. And then guess what's happening? It's coming back. And then I get depressed. And then it's kind of a vicious cycle, and I don't know how to get out of that.
So, quick question. How do you
Mm-hmm.
not have 30 seconds to put a powder in the water and shake it up?
You know what? And I'm usually not, like last night, I had a wedding reception.
I'm actually gonna, I usually am not in the business of interrupting anyone, but your story that you're telling yourself is a story. And
yeah,
I'm gonna use
excuses.
I'm gonna use you as an example, and I've been working with you for a little while now, so I feel like I can. But like, those are definitely stories. And when you said that like you live in a small town and you can't really do that, like that's a story. And I really want everyone to pay attention to like what their stories are. A lot of everyone here has been pretty cool about, taking responsibility and stuff like that, but we do tell our stories. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves that we're not 100% perfect all the time. So saying you don't have time for ketones, I love you, Doris, but that's not true.
It's not the I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's just, that's a story that you're telling yourself to give yourself permission to continue your bad behavior. So instead of going with that story, let's reframe that. What's a story that you can start telling yourself that you're gonna now, 1, take responsibility, and 2, change?
Well, I need to take my ketones when I do cheat, but I need to quit cheating as much.
Okay, so
I need to walk on by the dessert. I need to quit sticking my hand out for, I'll just take a small piece. And maybe go exercise or drink some more water.
So let's reframe that. Instead of saying I need to, how about we reframe that to I would like to make a better decision when it comes to my food?
Yeah. Or how about I will make a better decision?
Okay. But not because you can't will it. You will need to make a concise decision to do it. So I want to.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense to everyone? Because the way we talk to each other, this goes into like a perfect thing. Again, it goes the way we tell and what we tell each other is genuinely affecting how we make our decisions. So she was saying, I don't have time for ketones. She was genuinely believing that she didn't have time for ketones. She needed to. Nobody wants to need to do anything. You have to want to do it. So you're going to want to make a better decision with your food choices. And the more you say, I want, the more it's going to happen versus saying, I need. And can you feel like the difference when those two statements? It's like, I want to make a better decision. It kind of makes you go for a sec, right? It's like, okay, I'm doing this in my own free will. I'm making better decisions because I want to, not because I need to, because the second you say need, do you feel that resistance?
Mm-hmm. You're right.
So those are definitely like reframing words and like the way we just talk to ourselves. And you guys are going to start to notice now that you guys are more aware of it. You're going to be like, okay, well, wait a second. And like, this goes with the kind of like law of attraction type stuff too. And you guys are going to think I'm like a little nutty, but money, if you say like, I'm broke, you say I'm broke so many times, it's actually going to happen. I know I'm getting way left and kind of granola, but just from a biochemistry standpoint, and just how I said, like, I want and I need, those are super important statements just to remember. So does anyone want to share like a thing that they say to themselves, I want versus I need? Or like something that they've noticed in their framing that might, like a pattern over and over and over again that you say all the time that might need to be reframed, and I'm happy to help you craft something different. Y'all are unmuted, so you can just shout out if you want.
Hey, this is Karen. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So how I kind of handle that situation is you just have to.
I'm going to mute everyone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to mute everyone and then unmute you because someone's in the background, which is totally fine. So. Okay, for some reason I can't unmute you. So I will unmute all. Okay, just go ahead, it's fine. We'll work through it.
Oh, it's some unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So like when I was listening to her say that I need to do this, I need to do that, and I used to say those things, but now I replace it with want. If you want something that's chocolate, maybe find a new substitute that still satisfies your needs but still fits into your healthy lifestyle. That's what I do.
Okay.
And then pretty soon it becomes a habit, I think.
No, I agree. Yeah. We'll touch on like substitutes in a little bit, but I just wanted to like just go over like the mindset stuff, but that's perfect. Like doing the difference between, you know, okay, well, I want something chocolatey. Well, can I have a fat bomb versus something else? So, no, that's great. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? All right. So that covers that. So perfect. I went into the reframes. So now I want you guys to all imagine like the person that you want to become. So you guys are all here because you want to make changes. So we're not all perfect, and I can do this with you guys too. Imagine like the person you want to become. Like, what does that person look like? You know, what does that person feel like? What are some adjectives? And I want you guys to write down 5 adjectives that describe that person. So like that person that you want to become. An adjective is a description word if we have to go back to English class. Not gonna lie, I had to look it up when I first did this exercise. So adjectives and like some verbs or like actions that they're gonna take to become a better person. And then what are some nouns that describe, again, or like what you are, what is this person specifically? Write all those down, and then we're gonna do something. So like 5 of each. Some of y'all have done this already, but I'm guaranteeing that none of y'all have been doing it. Doris. Okay, I don't really do it either, but I want to make a commitment to do it. I'm going to make a commitment to do it. I'll give you guys a few minutes, okay? I'll mute everyone so we can think in peace. Does anyone have any questions or anything? No? Cool, I'll give you guys a few more minutes. I guess feel free to do more than 5. I just want, there's a reason. I love that, Carrie. I want to become confident, adventurous, happy, patient, energetic. Perfect. You might want to make it a little bit longer with like a little bit more description words. So for me, I'll give you guys like a little like preview. You can say things like, I don't want to read mine. I'll read mine. Here, so you guys are gonna like craft it, and I'm gonna screen share now, so. Craft it like this. So and then your name, and blank, 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 blank. You can do as many or as little as you want. I mean, but definitely make it like impactful. And then that, blank, 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 and blank. Movement and sleep. Karen says she has to, movement and sleep is her thing. So Karen, you would be like, you would say that I, Karen Holst, and blank, 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 and I love to move my body, and I make sleep a priority, or sleep is a priority. Did everyone get this like screen thing? So I'll just like stop sharing it. Cool. Yeah, Karen, your thing is weird. I can't unmute you for some reason. Hi, Sunny, you're back. I just unmuted everyone. So yeah. Carrie, the other 2 categories, there's like nouns, adjectives, and verbs. And then Doris put hers down there in the chat box. Is everyone putting things together well? Feel free to shout out if you have questions or whatever too. Is everyone about done, or you need some more time? Totally cool. Deborah's done. Carrie's done. Natalie's done. Cool. Okay. Awesome. So does everyone have their nouns, and like everyone has like a statement that they feel they could say? No? Who said no?
I did.
Deborah?
Yeah.
Who else said no? Hey, Sunny, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You catch the replay, and then you can hop on on another one next time or whatever. No biggie. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. I'll just give you guys a few more minutes. Sunny, we're just basically talking about like statements that we tell ourselves and like how we can change them. Like we're like things we were reframing, and then like we want to think about now like our future selves, like if you're amazing, you're funny, I'm literally reading Doris's, but nouns, verbs, and adjectives that describe you. And then I'm going to show you a screen share of like how you kind of want to put it all together. So where's the screen share? All right. Can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I am.
Yeah, I mean, this is just because it's what mine kind of is, but you guys can add whatever you want. And then I'm going to read you mine to like show you guys mine. Okay, so mine is, I'm Mandy Podlesny. I'm a vibrant, limitless, lovable, passionate, wealthy, tenacious warrior, 250K champion, leader, motivator that takes massive actions, changes lives, leads by example, and I am enough for myself and others, and I freaking rock. So the goal is for you guys to put this statement together, but I want you guys to be saying it to yourselves 10 times a day. Something that I need to be committed to that I teach, but I am not doing is this. And I kid you not, like when I did implement this for a whole month after the one event I went to, it was a game changer. Like I genuinely changed the entire trajectory of like my mindset and my business and like how it was helping people. Because when I woke up in the morning, I got into this state. So like it forced myself to actually believe that these things were happening and that I was these things, because I was telling myself over and over and over again and changing my biochemistry to actually believe it. Have I been on it? No. I do work with a mindset person now, but as I'm like teaching you guys, I'm like, damn it, I need to be better at this. So I'm going to make a commitment right now, and I hope all of you guys would too, is that I am going to say this 10 times a day. It's going to sound really freaking weird in the beginning, and I don't say it enough, and I do still have to get over that hump of like being weird. But there's people that I've coached that actually have said this to themselves and actually have made leaps and bounds in their health journeys because of this statement, because they would talk about their weight loss, they would talk about their health stuff, and really just like get a really good understanding of like, or get into a good mind frame before they started the day. And then it just made things easier because they had a firm anchor in believing like this is who they were, and they might not be there at that present moment, but in their mind, that's where they were. So it just really makes life a lot easier. And it could be anything, guys. It doesn't have to be like weight loss or whatever. It's just something good to have to anchor yourself in and really genuinely change the mindset of your entire day when you wake up. So does everyone have a good idea of that? And can I get commitments that we're all going to check in with each other and hold each other accountable to say our I am statements together? Like we're all going to be like, hey, did you do your statement? And we can do it in the group and people are going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? And it's going to be really so I'm going to commit to that. Does everyone commit to it? Just yay, nay. Perfect. Okay, good. And then obviously if you guys want, you can work on it more. But I think it would be a good idea to just like really anchor ourselves in and then like set an example for everyone else. Like, you know, like I said in the beginning, I can teach you guys how to eat keto foods, but like if you're not having an understanding of like, one, taking responsibility, two, why are you doing things, like what anchors you into the decisions that you're making, and really having a firm belief of where you're going by having these I am statements, you're never going to be able to like do the rest. So was this valuable for you guys, this portion of our workshop? And if anyone has any questions, feel free to interject and ask questions on anything that we had covered just in this portion. Cool, Kelly, go ahead. I unmuted you. I thought. Unmute. Okay, hold on. Can you hear it? No, hold on a second. I don't know why. It doesn't like you, Kelly. I think you might have to unmute yourself because it's like you're stuck. Yeah, Natalie said that it's going to take work for sure. It definitely does. It's definitely uncomfortable, like saying it out loud, especially because we sound like narcissistic when we like want to say these. Oh, I love that word because somebody called me that once. Up. Nope, not Kelly. Somebody has a really awesome alarm clock or cuckoo clock or whatever clock.
That's me. Sorry. It is 4 o'clock.
That's pretty bomb.
Sorry.
Kelly, I'm trying to unmute you and I don't know how. We might be slave to the chat box.
Kelly, on your iPad, if you touch on it, you should see a microphone. If you tap just anywhere, like maybe on the very, very top of your iPad, you'll see where it says leave meeting. There'll be a mute button. There's a microphone. There's also a start video where you can see participants is where you do your chat. Does that help?
I think you're on, Kelly.
And you need to make sure your volume is up.
Say something, Kelly. Nope.
You put it back.
Kelly, you were off. There you go.
Okay, cool.
Yay!
Hi. Now I
iPad
forgot what I was
tuning
going to say.
101.
Now the pressure's on.
No problem. Go ahead. I muted that person. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I did not work on, I need to work on my I am statement.
It really does. It does take a while, and I know I'm doing like the short, quick version, but like I want you to take it seriously, and like you might not know what you want right now. It definitely takes work. Like I was so uncomfortable when we were doing them because I was like, I don't know. I just want to walk like a normal person. Like I just want to help as many people as I can. So it really just does take some time, but like but as creatures, we tend to overthink things. So I don't want you to spend any more time than like 30 minutes post this workshop. So like, I want to check in with you by the end of the day and I want to know your statement. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Because I think that, like I said, we just get in our minds. We're like, okay, but I don't know. But like, if you're forced to like, it's okay, Rochelle. Forced to do it, it kind of puts you in this like uncomfortable position because you have to make a decision, but also remember that you can change it. Like what that I am statement, like I love that one, but it's something I definitely want to change because like businesses change, yourself changes, decisions and goals change. So your I am statement's going to change too, but just making that commitment to, okay, this is who I want to be maybe in the next 2 weeks. So you can constantly be changing those. I just feel like you and I are kind of the same where we get into our own heads and we're like, okay, but I don't know. But then we don't make a decision because we're just thinking about it too much. So I don't want that to happen to you.
I overthink everything.
1000%. Do you realize I overthought for a good 15 minutes, should I just go to CVS or should I go to the grocery store today? It's very exhausting, but we're working on it.
Yes.
So yeah, taking responsibility of just being like, okay, I'm committing to this. Like I'm going to overthink this for 30 minutes and then just make a decision. And don't mess good enough or perfect. Like whatever you say, again, you can 1, change it, and 2, it's okay to, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be something in the next 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks you can reevaluate again and that's it. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, and I'm glad we know how to unmute you now.
Right. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Does anyone else have any questions or anything going forward? Just gonna move on to the fun food portion of keto. I know that's why y'all came, and I know this is super deep, but this is really, really, really important to honestly remember. I can't stress it enough because it's not just about food, and I'm going to go into that in a little bit of like why lifestyle really matters. But this is going to really, I think, obviously making food decisions is important, but like you're going to understand more of like why those decisions are happening or not happening. So cool. Everyone got value out of this. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Yay, nay. All right, perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna go into Keto 101, and I have notes here, but sometimes I just wing it. You know, it's just how I am. All right, so really, like, we all kind of know, someone's typing and I don't know who it is.
Sorry, it's me.
Oh no, it's okay, Sunny. I'm just gonna mute you now. All right, perfect. So how many people, just like by show of like nods or whatever, like decided to do this lifestyle, and then they started Googling and they're like, okay, what the hell? Like, because there's 17 different answers to one question. Yay? Yeah. Awesome. So this is where I suggest you guys, like, and you guys know because you guys have found me in my groups, but like really getting the correct research and like finding like science-based stuff. Because there's things called bro science where it's just like these dudes that are at the gym and they like think like exogenous ketones are bullshit, or they think like you need to eat like a ton of cheese and like that's keto. You really want to find things that are rooted in science. So the people that, Sunny, are you laughing at me?
Sort of. I'm laughing at the thing about dudes thinking you need to eat a lot of cheese and that's keto, because it's so true. It's like, oh,
I was
have
like,
some cheese.
Laughing at something. Yeah, no, I mean, it really is true. And like, there's just like shitty articles out there. Everybody has an opinion about everything. So really just like looking into people's credentials and like looking and going after people that you vibe with the best. And also remember that like what one person in one blog article says doesn't mean it's going to work for you exactly. So this is why it goes back to taking the ownership of like what and why you're doing what you're doing. And even Doris said, like, you know, I teach like a lifestyle, and like I obviously don't eat 100% keto 100% of the time. Am I maybe doing myself a disservice, and maybe that's why I have a stuffy nose? Yeah, possibly. I still have a lot of evaluation to do as to why things react to the way I do in my body, but I'm not gonna put this stress on myself and only eat chicken, kale, and MCT oil because that is what Mark Sisson says is not inflammatory and doesn't cause a reaction. Like, it doesn't work for me, and maybe Doris needs to just never eat sugar for probably 3 to 6 months. That might be shitty sounding to everyone else, but that might be something that she just has to work through. So again, it goes back to like your mindset and why you're doing what you're doing. But then executing and understanding like the science behind things, and also understanding that like your biochemistry is completely different than everyone else's. So just going back into those, finding the correct research and like go to who you attract to and like what makes the most sense for you. And I also want to know just if anyone has health issues or anything, and like this has nothing to do with keto, it's just something I picked up along the long lifestyle, and I still just had to do it the other day. If you really need to find like a support system that you really trust in terms of like medical care. I didn't fire my doctors for a really long time because I just took them at their word, and what they were telling me wasn't making sense. Like, I didn't have an inflammatory disease because I needed methotrexate. I have an inflammatory disease because of probably lack of ketones, horrible genetic predispositions, food allergies for sure, and like just gripping like your health by the balls and being like, I'm not letting anyone tell me anything. Like, I need to do this. And like, if I just had an allergist lie to me the other day saying that there was not an allergy test for what I was asking, but I know full well it is. So I had to fire him, and it was a very weird conversation, but I did it anyway. It's just that, like, I just want you guys to take ownership when it comes to just medical stuff. Like, do not take anything. You guys know your body is essentially what I'm trying to say. So that's just like a little riff I had to go on to because I think people don't understand that. So just really just do what's best for you at the end of the day. Like, I'm not a guru. I'm not here to like tell you yes, no, or otherwise. I'm here to guide you and give you like counseling, but I'm not, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. And that's okay too. So finding the correct research is super important. The ketogenic Bible, I know everyone knows, is what I recommend. If you look at well, half of it is like super dumbed down versions of keto, which is amazing. And like, that's pretty much what I teach. And then half of it's cookbook. And then like the rest of it is all science. Like the rest of it's like every single study that has to do with ketones, ketosis, etc. So I would suggest if y'all haven't gotten one of those, definitely get one, because it really just is a good reference tool. Even for your friends and family, they're like, oh, I get migraine headaches. Well, you can turn to page blah, 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 and like really not only get the explanation as to why ketogenic lifestyle or exogenous ketones could help, but also like see the science behind it. Like they reference everything. They're like, which is in the back of the thing. So I really like that book. And I have a huge crush on Ryan Lowry. He doesn't know that yet, but I eventually will tell him. And then Mark Sisson, who I study with, he's more paleo and primal. So kind of exactly how I teach, like, 80, 90% paleo nutrition, which is essentially keto, but a little bit higher carb with sweet potatoes and stuff like that. I think Carrie is actually looking at the Keto Bible right now. Are you? Yeah. Cool. Perfect. And then, yeah, those are just people that I trust. Anything from like dietdoctor.com is pretty good too. I do notice that they restricted their content a lot. I don't like that. I think free content and resources should be at least free, or just at least in one source. I don't know. I know I just suggested to buy a book, but you could go on ketogenic.com, which I think Ryan Lowry and Jacob contribute to too. So those are all just good resources. I want you guys to give you some options to understand that that's where you can find those. And then just overcoming, like, let's talk about like some misconceptions. So, and then I'm going to unmute you all. Like, what are some misconceptions about the keto diet that you've experienced so far, besides the eating cheese from the bros? Because I know like a lot of people come to me and then they're eating like a ton of Atkins shakes and like thinking that zero or sugar free is okay. And those are not good at all. No one wants to share. Okay, so misconceptions.
How about?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
How about not everything that says sugar free is sugar free?
Yeah, read the label.
Reading labels have totally freaked me out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we can definitely do, I didn't write that down, but we can do a deep dive into like No, this is why I'm doing this too, just to like see what comes up, So yeah, the misconceptions is like a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to eat a lot of butter and cheese and like whatever, not understanding that like calories do matter, but they don't. Like, and this kind of leads into my next point, like eating a perfect keto plate, which is not the same as macros, but like eating a perfect plate of what I'll go into is really hard to, one, go over calories, and two, it's going to fill you up, and three, it's really going to like reduce those carb cravings down because you're eating so healthy. And like, I just see just like in the groups, like people just post like, oh, I'm doing this, or, like with an Atkins shake, or I'm doing sugar-free Jello. They take a picture of their plate, but it's like all protein and cheese and there's no nutrients in it. So like, I'm going to go into it in a second, but like the nutrients is so important. Like you want to be doing a well balanced. And if you're doing a well balanced, your macros are naturally going to happen. Because I like really just teach like, don't count macros, do a plate of like healthy vegetables and then proteins and then drizzle everything with fat, or eat a fatty cut of meat and cook it in coconut oil so that it's not just one macro imbalance to another. It's perfectly portioned macronutriently, which you'll hit naturally your macros, but then you don't need to figure them out because you're eating more healthy. So does that make sense to everyone? I'm going to mute everyone again. Okay, and then Rochelle says, so many people I talk to say, oh my God, it's so hard to follow and I'm hungry all the time. They just couldn't do it. Yeah, and the reason why it's that is because, again, they're not doing the perfect plate. So their plates are just looking very off and their macronutrients are off. And then it just really is like a hard way of living because they're probably not getting enough fat, which that's a huge indicator of like why you're hungry all the time. Or if you're continuing to have carb cravings, probably doing too many replacements, which I'll go to in a second, or having the sugar-free, which is really not sugar-free. So that leads me to, I'm sure all of y'all have seen this going. Cindy says that people say it's unhealthy for her to eat keto. Yes, it's unhealthy to eat cheese and bacon and butter. It is not unhealthy for you to have a healthy portion of salad topped with chicken and a shit ton of ranch dressing, but don't do that every day. I would usually just use olive oil, avocado oil, or some sort of oil-based dressing that is a healthy oil for you. And then, you know, avocado topped with that too. So that's like, that sounds like a perfect plate to me. So, oops, I'm not inviting someone. I'm going to screen share to you guys. So, is everyone okay seeing this? I can only see a couple of you because of the way we're doing it. But I want to go through like literally the perfect plate, but I also want to just, and then feel free to unmute like foods that you should be choosing. So I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'm sure y'all have, but like, this is a plate. It's not your macros. So like 50% should be veggies and salad. 10% should be come from healthy fats. And then fatty proteins. And then we'll go into like what that all means. This is a guide. It's not a totalitarian food group. I try my best to get everything on, but everyone of course finds some sort of food that needs to be included. But like your proteins, right? And I teach, you know, I try to do as organic as possible. Your sourcing matters. It really is important to just try and get grass-fed and organic and hormone-free. Do I do it all the time? No, I'm not paying $1,200 a pound for, you know, grass-fed whatever. I do what I can. Write this down, you guys. Butcher Box is a really good option. Sorry, Carrie, I'll get to that in a second. So Butcher Box is actually a really good option. I'm going to actually try and email the company and see if we can get like a discount for all of us as a group. But my sister was buying Butcher Box a lot and I wasn't going to sign up for it, but she turned vegetarian because she saw a stupid documentary. So she actually just gave me all of hers and I really like it. I have a shit ton of meat in my freezer, but like once I run out, I'm going to actually start doing it. It's really good, high quality stuff. And, it's just a really good option. They have really good chicken and it's really just ideal. So, but again, do what you can. I'm not going to require, I don't require everyone to do grass-fed because I don't require myself to do it. It just is what it is. But sourcing does matter. So if you do see like a difference, if it's only like like $1 more or something, of course, choose the better stuff. Because what the proteins are finished with is what you guys are going to be ending up with too. So like if the hormone and antibiotics are in the chicken, you're going to have it too. But it's better than eating a cake. So yes, Rochelle, she watched What the Health. And I just refuse to watch documentaries because I think that you can make a documentary go to whatever for or against agenda that you're having. Do I agree that there's some sort of conspiracy with FDA and food sources and farmers and whatever? For sure. But I just refuse to watch it because I don't know. And then all the vegans and the vegetarians will then go buy faux cheese that's like made with processed stuff, thinking that they're doing themselves like a good service. My sister eats like fake bacon and I don't know, just weird stuff. And I can't get behind it. So, the thing with me is like, I always tell everyone, do what's best for you. I'm not here to be a preacher or whatever. I can tell you what I know rooted in science. But again, you can go find vegan science that's for or against everything. I just know that fundamentally, after a decade of trying every which way, this is the best way. Okay, so Natalie says, Carrie, I'll get back to your question. And if I don't, just interrupt me and tell me to say, yo, back it up. She's cooking pork chops from them today. Would love a discount. Yes. Okay. I will work on that for sure. For you guys. And then Doris, yeah, you're super lucky that you have family members that own feedlots and farms. Just, try and get it as clean as possible. Seafood, take a look. Like, you guys can have pretty much any seafood. It's really good. I actually have some, because I don't have any seasoning or anything, I have a pre-seasoned and buttered piece of cod in the fridge, and I'm going to make with some Brussels sprouts today. And you want to do wild as possible. A lot of seafood like shrimp and salmon, those are just, when they're farm raised, it's just like not very, it's just natural is better. I'll go into that. You guys can feel free to Google. Okay, so veggies and fruit. This kind of goes into, Carrie, this kind of goes into like what we were saying. So like, and feel free to unmute if you can. If you can't, I'll unmute everyone so you can talk. But yes, I don't recommend counting macros, and the macros in veggies, like I really just don't count them, because the reason why is like, yes, they have carbs. We have to remember that subtracting the carbs from fiber is what really gives you the actual count of a net carb. So it just gets really tricky, and like we can cover it if you really want to get into it, but I just don't want to confuse you. I want to keep everybody as simple as possible. Like, eat from a good food list, and that's it. Should be concerned with carbs and ketones. No, same thing. So like the carbs and ketones, you subtract the sugar, the carbs, and then the sugar alcohol, and it's really low. I drink 2 or 3 ketones a day. I drink a keto cream. I maintain my weight. I love that you're doing a good amount of veggies, but you're not going to stall when you're eating veggies. Like, that's what people think. Like, the reason why you're stalling is, if you are stalling, and again, please unmute and we can have a conversation, because I'm sure if you're asking this, other people too are as well. But like, people get so caught up with the carb count in an eggplant or a ketone or whatever, but those are healthy things that your body will use correctly. What the carbs that matter are the things that matter are the ingredients that makes up those carbs. Does that make sense for everyone? And I can only see a couple of you, so. So just want to make sure, I'm just trying to find of you. Give me some yays, good? Okay, perfect. It makes no sense to me. I thought carbs were bad. Okay, no, that's great. I'm glad that you asked that question. So yes. And Sunny, I think you and I just met, so I don't think you had been following me for a while, so that's totally fine too. And I'm glad you're asking, because I'm sure other people would too. Carbs are bad, but there's this whole thing called net carbs and total carbs. Some people count total carbs, some count net carbs. There's 17,000 different blog articles about it. I count no carbs. I just eyeball a little bit, whatever. I just don't count anything that's in veggies, because there's high carbs in onions, right? But you subtract the onion carb from the fiber, because the fiber doesn't cause a reaction or an insulin spike. So it technically is like 0 to limited carbs. So the nutrition facts are very confusing. For instance, the ketones that we have, the ketones look like they have a shit ton of sodium in it, but it's actually not sodium like table salt. It's actually an electrolyte. So again, it goes back to like reading the ingredients versus reading the nutrition facts. Does that make more sense to everyone? So I can get a sugar-free box of Jell-O, and it's like, oh, cool, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, but it has maltodextrin in it, which actually spikes your insulin and is the same exact response as if you're eating a tablespoon of sugar. So when you look at it, the nutrition facts of veggies, yeah, it looks bad because it has high carb, But on a technicality, because you subtract the fiber, it's actually not, but you're eating a freaking broccoli, so it's fine. Does that make sense? I know it's like definitely like if this, then that, like that's why I teach like super simple, because there's so many different pathways to like, well, this, maybe this, maybe this. So it's just like eat veggies and occasional fruit. Lemons and limes are okay. This isn't a total list of like everything. I'm sure I missed some stuff, but it's just like what makes up those nutrition facts. So like same things with Atkins bars and the maltodextrin and the sucralose and like natural flavor, or not natural, but like unnatural flavors. Like the response in the body is what matters, not the actual nutrition. I feel like I beat a dead horse to that, but I just get super fired up over it. So feel free to interrupt if you guys have questions or anything. Sunny, does that give you a better understanding of carbs and stuff like that? Awesome. Is there any like, I'm going to unmute you. Is there any like foods in particular you want to ask me about? I unmuted you, so you're good.
I'm brand spanking new to all of this.
Okay.
So I feel like it's probably best for me, and I was late, so that didn't help.
No,
so
we didn't this is the first time we're deep diving into it, so it's totally fine.
Okay. So I think probably what's best for me is to go through the whole video with you and not stop for questions, because what the questions I have you'll probably get to anyway.
But if you have questions, everyone else is, so let's just cover it. It's fine. Is everyone okay with her asking?
I
got a bunch of yeses, so go ahead.
Okay, so I'm realizing now that you keep talking about ketones, which I presume is a product.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end.
So I was thinking, my friend told me about this group and this video training, and I was thinking like how to get your body into ketosis.
Yeah. And
I'm guessing they're all connected, but the only experience I've had with ketosis is I did the HCG diet.
Right.
Or whatever, injections. I don't know if we call it a diet. Yeah, it's a diet. Anyway, it sounds like this product can help you basically mimic the HCG diet by putting your body into ketosis.
Yeah.
So what you said about carbs just now that we're in food cancels out some carbs get canceled out by other genetic makeup of the vegetable.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me, but I'll probably just have to.
It's okay. I kind of know where you're going. No, you're fine. It's totally fine. And I think a lot of people probably have this question as well. Exogenous ketones we'll get into at the end. And your friends are Jerry, right?
Julie.
Okay. Julie Miller?
Miller.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yes. So the whole point of all this, the ketogenic diet per se, is to get yourself into nutritional ketosis. And that's fine, and you could possibly get into nutritional ketosis without counting macros, but nutritional ketosis is really freaking hard to get into without HGC or exogenous ketone, like drinking ketones. So when we call it a ketogenic diet, and the whole point that a lot of people do the ketogenic diet is to get their body into nutritional ketosis. So that means that your body's making beta-hydroxybutyrate in the liver. So when beta-hydroxybutyrate is made in the liver, it turns your body into fat burn mode so that your body runs on ketones for fuel and your body fat for fuel versus carbs. But what I teach and why I say it's important to eat a keto plate is because, one, the ketogenic diet to get yourself into nutritional ketosis is freaking hard. You have to count every single little thing. The macronutrients of fats, proteins, and oils, or fats, proteins, and carbs all have to be perfect biochemistry to you. And you have to calculate it. You have to track it. You have to make sure you're not sleeping too much. You have to make sure you're not sleeping too little. You have to make sure you're not stressed out. It's a really, really, really hard. The only way
It's super easy.
Yeah. What did you say?
I said, so really what you're saying, it's really easy to do.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is I reverse engineer it for everyone here. What is your health goal? Most people, it's to lose weight. Mine, reduce my inflammation. The ketogenic diet and the foods that are on a ketogenic diet list can still help you achieve that health goal. And you can drink exogenous ketones to help you get into ketosis without having to do everything else with the calculations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you choose not to use exogenous ketones, highly huge fan of them, but I do understand that I represent a company, so I always give people the option, yes or no. That being said, you could still do this diet and achieve health goals because it's anti-inflammatory and it's obviously going to create a calorie deficit based on what you are currently probably eating now. Does that clear up a lot?
Yes.
Okay. It's just that the ketogenic diet fundamentally means you're eating the ketogenic way in order to get into ketosis. But again, I reverse engineer it for everyone else because 90% of people's end goal is to lose weight. Eating ketogenically is actually how our bodies are genetically designed to eat. And we implement rebooting, aka fasting, for 60 hours to help that nutritional ketosis process along. Because when you restrict carbs and you restrict calories from all foods, your body's going to force that. But again, I'll go into that at the end. But those are really the only two ways to get into nutritional ketogenesis, which is your body producing ketones in the liver, or you can drink them. Think of it really no differently than supplementing with a multivitamin. So you're just supplementing with ketones versus your body's deficient in ketones, so you're going to supplement with them and avoiding all of the macro counting and stressing and stuff like that. Because that's why I just kiss keto, because it's just so much easier to do it this way. Is everyone clear on that? Because that's actually, I'm glad that you brought it up, and I don't want you to ever feel like you can't raise your hand and ask the question. So that's perfect. Is everyone cool on that and understand kind of a little bit more deeper of like why I teach what I teach? I'm like a keto coach, because I do eat keto and I represent a ketogenic supplement company. But that being said, you could still eat a paleo diet, which is most of this. This is the fundamental things that I'm teaching anyway. I've just reduced a lot of the carbs in the keto lifestyle because one, like Doris, she can't have a lot of carb cheating because she just opens this whole Pandora's box of carbs and can't stop. And that's just, why it works for so many people, because you restrict that carb, your body's not going to want it as much. You can still do it naturally and not really force your body into ketosis and still achieve your health goals. Or you can incorporate the exogenous ketones, whatever you want, and then achieve those goals faster. Cool. Awesome. Thank you for asking. I love going off in tangents. And then Rochelle says, maltodextrin, is it worse than sugar? Yeah, I mean, it's no worse or less. Maltodextrin's a sugar substitute. That's actually a chemical that just tricks your body into thinking it has sugar. But when you trick your body, or you actually feed your body of sugar, it still has the same response. So, and then chemicals, of course, cause like weird things to happen in your body. So you just don't want that to happen. Then maltodextrin will cause an insulin spike and throw you out of ketosis. All right. So we're going to go into fats. And is everyone clear? Good. I hope that was a cool, good definition of everything. All right. So fats and oils. So organic and grass-fed fats and oils are like super highly encouraged. Of course, again, your sources from what they had is what you're consuming. So on here, healthy fats, like that does include cheese and cream cheese and stuff like that. But again, you want to use it sparingly. You just don't want to be eating buffalo chicken dip all day long and then being like, I'm eating keto, but then forgetting about your veggies. So it's just, some people just honestly, a lot of the reason why I see people stall is because they're eating way too much cheese. When you eat way too much cheese, your actually body, like some people's bodies can't produce that much or process that much cheese. So you want to just reduce that amount and really stick to healthy animal fats, fatty cuts of meats. Prime rib particularly is my favorite. Avocado oil, olive oil, mayonnaise, but you want to make sure that you're staying away from the sunflower oil, canola oil, God, who knows what other kind of crappy soybean oil. The reason why is because they have inflammatory agents, polyunsaturated fat something, I'm totally blanking right now, but it's called PUFA. And those actually cause an inflammatory response. So a lot of like your homemade or store-bought salad dressings have all of that in that. So if you actually turn over your ingredients list in salad dressings from the store-bought, you're going to see a lot of inflammatory oils, and I just don't like them. It's best to really make your own at home. Of course, I'm not 100% perfect. I know that sometimes I'm in a pinch and I just need a salad from wherever, and I know that it's not going to have the best ingredients. It's nothing to stress over. Just when you're home and you're shopping for yourself and stuff like that, you want to choose healthy fats and oils. So is everyone clear on the fat and oil section? Perfect. Okay, drinks. Now, really should be doing a lot of half your body weight should be water. And then, you can do sparkling water, flavored water. Like I love LaCroix water, but I just do it like 1 or 2 once every other day or something like that. And make sure you're checking the ingredients, because again, it goes down to the maltodextrin and the sucralose and stuff like that. So, it might be 000, but it might have an ingredient in there that flavors it and gives it a little bit more sweetness, because we're all used to sweetening our stuff. And you just want to make sure that you check that. Coffee's fine, tea's fine, nut milk's okay. I particularly like Khalifa brand. They don't have the carrageenan in it, which is cause another inflammatory response sometimes, and it's just a chemical that's really not necessary. But those are all A-okay choices. Also to note, Powerade Zero is going to be the death of me in keto groups. I have just chosen no longer to answer those questions about electrolytes. But Powerade Zero is not a good drink, and neither is the Mio additives. You want to make sure that you're getting like clean water that are 8 to 10 ounces a day. Plus, if you want to enjoy a sparkling water here and there, coffee or tea or something, that does not count as your water. You want to be drinking straight H2O, because 90% of us are dehydrated as I speak to you right now. I definitely am too. I'm just going to drink water now. But yeah, so everyone cool on that? Anyone have any questions? Feel free to interrupt. Cheers to everyone who just had a sip of water. Sweeteners. So we want to consume these sparingly. The ones that are okay are erythritol, xylitol, stevia, and monk fruit. My question to you would be like, why are you using them? My keto cream is sweetened, and my ketones are sweetened with erythritol and stevia. I have no issues with them at all. Does not cause an inflammatory spike. My glucose levels, because I'm just crazy and constantly test them, are super fine. But a lot of people go down this avenue of, okay, I'm going to do a ton of keto subs. So they find keto replacements for cheesecake, but then eat the whole thing because it's keto. Or they do keto cheesecake, have it in their house a lot, and still end up eating the whole thing. Like, it's a crap ton of cheese and a crap ton of calories, and it's still relying on sweetener. And the point is to really understand, I think Joy Lynn, she was saying she doesn't even want it anymore. You want to get to that point where you like don't, Kelly, I think you said too, you just don't want the carbs anymore or the sugar anymore. And when people rely on these like over and over and over again and like constantly sweetening their coffees and stuff like that, it just still is concerning to me because you feel like you still are using that as a crutch to come along. You want to get to a point where you're not craving anymore. And if you just make I don't want to use bad choice. If you make a different choice than what should be, it's because you're doing it consciously, not because of a craving. Does everyone follow? Cool. Awesome. And then, yeah, I did go into dairy. Like, I forgot I did this. I haven't looked at this in a while. I'm better off with none or I eat it all. Yeah, that's kind of how I am too. Like, I've been a little bit lax, obviously, because I've been traveling, and like Fiji had literally no keto foods, and primarily vegetarians there. So I chose to eat breads and stuff, and I was really beating myself up over it, but realistically, like, the emotional attachment there should be broken with. I was just doing what I needed to at the time to feel full and not be starving all day. But again, it's just, you know, I'm glad that you recognize that. And it's, again, recognizing in yourself, like, what you can and can't have. And then dairy, like, should be consumed as a treat or pair with a meal, but, like, again, should not be treated as like a primary food source. So I love buffalo chicken dip because that's what I relate to all the time, but, like, eat it with celery or on top of a salad, like, mixed in. You're not going to want to use that as like a food group. And then the nuts, so treat them sparingly or as like a small snack. The calories add up. Sometimes we eat a whole bag of nuts, and, like, just because they're super addicting and they taste good, not realizing that, like, that's actually a high calorie count, which is fine. And then we haven't moved all day, so that could actually be a staller for some of you. And then, like, the flours as well. Sometimes, again, going back to the keto cheesecake, one, you're eating a shit ton of keto cheesecake, but then you're also having the almond flour crust. So it's a double whammy of calories. So you just want to be aware of what you're doing. Hey, have at it every once in a while. Like, on Sundays, if you want to make the almond flour pancakes for your kids or whatever, it's fine. It's just being conscious of, like, what does cause stalls or delays your health goals. I mean, I'd rather you have a couple almond flour pancakes than real ones, you know? And then seeds, chia, flax, pumpkin, sesame, sunflower. I put those on because people were asking. I'm not really, like, into seeds. Like, I love pumpkin seeds, but the other stuff, I don't really see the point of it, but some people like it, and that's okay. So there's that for now. I'm going to stop sharing, and then what questions do you guys have so far? Don't be shy. I'm going to unmute you. Okay, I unmuted you all. Anyone? No? Nothing? You guys are keto.
Yes, I have a quick question. Go ahead.
Sunny, you were first, so you can go first. Go ahead.
I had a question, like, about the oils, because sometimes I get confused. Like, they'll say sunflower seeds are okay, but then we're supposed to stay away from sunflower oil. And then some products will have sunflower oil, and they say it's okay. So I get kind of confused about that. Is there a reason behind it?
So oils, the way that they process in your body, can be inflammatory. So you can eat sunflower seeds and have no problem, but it's the pressing and the inflammatory response in an oil that counts. So the body breaks down the seeds a lot better, but the oil usually is mixed with some sort of other cheap oil. Like, what is a canola? You know what I mean? So sunflower oil and a canola oil mixed together are super inflammatory. It just causes a response in the body that it thinks it's a carcinogen ingredient. So you just want to stay away from those. Again, I'm not perfect. I go to Panera. I get vinaigrette. Like, you need to do what's best for you, staying on keto as possible. But it's not, at the end of the day, like, an inflammatory oil versus, like, having pancakes is not that big of a deal. Do you know what I'm saying? So you want to avoid those things, but not really it's not detrimental to your keto life, you know? So hopefully that answers your question. And then like seeds too, sunflower seeds and whatever, you can eat them, and they're just make sure you look at the ingredients and the calorie counts. But those are okay, generally speaking. Sunny, go ahead.
Okay, something you said brought up a second question. My first question was, whatever you had on your screen showing what like the keto, the good choices for seafood and drinks, all the stuff you just went over. Yeah. Can we find that somewhere, or like I was trying to make all the notes. Okay.
Oh, I guess I should have said. Okay, so the food guide is in my group in the file section. Okay. You guys are I'll email that all to you, and then I'm gonna give you the hacker's guide to like keto points, which I'm actually gonna go over now. So you don't have to scribble notes down. Like I'm gonna review it, and then it's totally fine. So yeah, it's like a hack guide to like the food plate, and then a hack guide to restaurants. I'm gonna give you. We're not gonna have time to go over that one, but like it gives you ideas of like if you're going to Italian food, like what you should be eating, or like if you're going to a pizza place, like what you should be having or whatever. So.
Okay, perfect. And my second question is, so like you just said, if you're going to an Italian restaurant, if you are doing all of this and then you're at a function or something happens and you just have half a plate of spaghetti or something, you throw everything off in your body, then this is my big panic about it. Do you like start over from scratch and it takes weeks to get back where you were? How does your body reset, and how, I'm sure that we're all different, but are we talking about like 6 hours of reboot or 6 weeks of reboot? Does that make sense?
So, like I was saying before, there's a lot of if then that's. Mm-hmm. This is why I love exogenous ketones. It's not only good ketones, and you kind of missed my story in the beginning. I'm going to mute everyone so I can get this out real quick. And I unmuted you, Sunny. So, okay. I was doing paleo for a really long time, and I was feeling and developing an unhealthy relationship with food because I felt that everything was being inflammatory to me. So I would go in periods of where I was binge eating and then I was not. So my up and down weight and everything like that, I just could never get a solution to, one, my weight, and two, my inflammatory issues. Then I had exogenous ketones. Did you ever just buy something and you're like, I'm just going to do this on the whim? That's what happened to me. I didn't want ketones. I thought ketones were just Atkins. I skimmed over all of that portion of all of my research, and I never paid it any mind because I couldn't understand really what it was. But then I drank a half a pack of the ketones, and I could walk down the stairs for the first time in 12 years, one foot in front of the other. So it was a game changer to me, but I did not believe it because I was like, yeah, right. Like maybe I'm just having a really good day. First one in 12 years. But then by day 5, I was like, holy crap. Like I had no more chronic fatigue. I had no more like anything. I was literally, again, great. I didn't need my IV medications anymore. Not making medical claim, whoever may be listening to this on the replay. But that was my experience. So knowing that I could have something to supplement the diet that I was already trying to execute and still have the health benefits of the reduced inflammation and not having to go through the entire ketogenesis process over again was a game changer. So yes, you can do this on your own. But if you do choose to have that plate of spaghetti, you're likely going to either have to do intermittent or long-term fasting for 60 hours or more to get your body back into that ketogenesis state. So there's two differences. So nutritional ketosis is when your body's producing the liver. That's called ketogenesis. Or the clinical definition of ketosis is elevated blood ketones and elevated blood ketone levels in your body. So either way, if you're doing nutritional ketosis without exogenous ketones and you're in ketogenesis, which takes weeks or months for most people, or it could take a couple days if you're doing a fast or intermittent fasting, you can test your blood ketone levels and see where they're at if you are producing ketones or not. I don't like urine strips because those are what actually shows what you're expelling and not what you're using. So that's why I like to have a blood ketone monitor. So you can do it that way, but if you eat that plate of spaghetti, it's going to take a lot longer for you to bounce back versus strategically having that spaghetti, knowing that you're going to have that spaghetti, or just not knowing and just make that decision. And then within 2 hours having an exogenous ketone, you're right back to where you were prior to that spaghetti. So it really, again, is like that insurance. There's a lot of, again, bro science out there that says that that's bullshit, but there's a lot of actual science from the ketogenic Bible that I was referencing that has studies and clinical trials and clinical results of this stuff being factual. And it's just that of itself is amazing. But then my testimony, and then I have 400 and some people that I've worked with over the last 1 year, with and without ketones, but 400 solidly with ketones and paired with the diet have all had way more success. And when I offer it to them, because I never want to be a product pusher, that's not what I'm here about. I want you guys to take ownership of your health journey and what works best for you. But when I do offer that and then they opt out, 90% of them come back to me and say, I need help. I want the ketones. And then they go forward that way. But again, it's not here to pitch ketones. I'm just here to tell you that it's going to make your life a hell of a lot easier if that's the direction you're going. And I think Joy Lynn had said that. And then Barbara, I believe, or somebody earlier today you may not have been on, but said that it was like a way easier journey for them because they did it. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hence why I like Chipotle a lot and reference it, because I know that I can have it. Now, again, I'm in my own journey of figuring out what foods trigger me, going through some food testing and that kind of thing for my own biochemistry. But for someone with no autoimmune issues and no inflammatory responses and just genuinely want to lose weight, the ketones and like having a bowl of Chipotle burrito every once in a while is not going to derail them when they have exogenous ketones, versus someone like could be in a situation like Doris just can genuinely not have that. But Doris would be a lot worse off if she didn't have the ketones to back it up. So cool. Anyone else got any questions on food? Don't be shy. All right, guys. So I just want to just do like the little hacker's guide that I have, and then kind of wrap up and then leave it open to you guys for like custom questions or anything that you want. And then, yeah. So actually, I'm going to send you guys the hacker's guide. You guys can all read, hopefully. So just for time's sake, just because it's getting a little bit later and I want plenty of time. So there's lifestyle principles that go into like eating, and that affects, genuinely like affects your body, why you need to do things. So like sometimes we focus so much on food, like, oh, I need to eat ketogenically, or I need to eat from that food list. I'm not having success because I am eating from this food list. I don't understand like what's happening. So I want to evaluate, like when I work with people, like what are they doing? And a lot of it is they're not getting enough plants or vegetables. So there's 10 principles that go into our lifestyle and our genetic reprogramming. You can actually reprogram your genes. So for me, I have a genetic predisposition called the HLA-B27 gene that turned on at some point, and I'm working towards turning it off. Will it ever turn off? Maybe. If not, I can severely reduce the effects of it showing by my lifestyle and my dietary choices. And that's really what it's about, really trying to get your genes to express correctly. And if for those that don't know what genes are, so genes, you can get them from your family and like your familial genes. So why you have eye color, hair color, and facial features and body structures, etc. Those come from your family. But then you also have a set of genes that you get that express environmentally, food, that me and Sunny's might be completely different. She may or may not have the HLA-B27 gene, but it really is just like a little computer program on how your body functions and operates. So the factors that go into it, there's 10 of them. So eating plants and animals, that helps your genetic expression, your body composition, etc. Avoid poisonous things. These are blueprints to how your genes should be expressed. So you're going to want to avoid poisonous things. So back in the paleo caveman days, poisonous things were in nature, not knowing if they were poisonous berries or something like that. But in our times, it would be those inflammatory oils, sugars, Atkins bars, Mio and Powerade Zero are all things that you don't want to be consuming because they are chemically and do poison the body over time. And when people tell you, well, I lost weight on an Atkins bar, I've lost weight on sugar-free Jell-O, yes, that can be possible, but you are still injecting your body with chemicals that are not how your body's genetically designed to process. So, of course, if they're eating sugar-free Jell-O, that's better than eating, well, I don't think it's any really better, but you're creating a calorie deficit by making lower calorie food choices. That doesn't necessarily mean that's overall good for you. Is everyone clear on that? Because I see that a lot in groups, that everyone's like, well, I still drink Diet Coke. Well, you do realize that you can be losing weight on Diet Coke, but you're still drinking Diet Coke chemicals. So I just want to be very, very clear on that. Because I actually, one, removed myself from a whole bunch of groups, and two, resolved to stop arguing about it, because you can create a calorie deficit with everything. So just being super clear with that. 3, something that, let's be show of hands honest here, move frequently. Who has not moved? I probably should have incorporated some sort of movement because we've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes, 50 minutes, but moving is something that I, again, will be committed to. My I am statement, getting better sleep, and definitely getting better movement. Movement is directly contributed to your success or failure at fat loss goals. And does everyone understand that? And if you don't, feel free to interject. Doris said she's working on more movement. And over-exercising is actually hindering you, could be potentially, more than helping you. And why do I say this? And I'm kind of lumping all this together because it coincides. If you're over-exercising, going to the gym, doing chronic cardio, being crazy, that actually in the gym, that actually spikes your cortisol. Cortisol is your fight or flight hormone. Your body does not know the difference genetically between being chased by a bear and running on a treadmill. So if your body thinks that it's being chased by a bear, it's going to increase that cortisol level, think you're in a state of stress, and then your hormones are imbalanced, and then you can't lose weight because it's in a constant state of protection versus a constant state of de-stress. Does everyone follow with that? Awesome. So working out 2 or 3 times a week, but very minimally, weight training versus hours on the cardio, hours on the treadmill or whatever, is actually a lot better. So you're going to want to be moving frequently, but it doesn't have to be an over aggressive amount of movement, which then coincides to lifting heavy things. Think back again into the caveman paleo primal days. They moved a lot because they had to move camps based on weather. They had to move camps based on environmental issues, stuff like that. So they would move and go for long walks. Or hunter-gatherers, they would go hunt and walk for miles. And then they would have to lift heavy things by putting their camps together and stuff like that. So moving rocks and picking up heavy deer or whatever they would catch. So thinking back in those times is how our genes are genetically designed to express. So also then going into sprint once in a while, not sprinting a lot. So if they were being chased by a bear, they would have to do periods of time sprinting. So this is a key thing that I want you guys to either write down or might be an aha moment for you. Who is not sprinting at all? I know Natalie is probably doing it. Sunny's not. So I don't have the physical capacity to actually sprint on the ground, but I do have the capacity to go on the elliptical and move, get my heart rate up. Sprinting will actually, it's been shown, will break a stall. The reason why is because you are one, moving, you're two, lifting heavy things, but if you incorporate sprinting once every 7 to 10 days, it's shown to shake up your metabolism and break a stall because you're increasing that cortisol level and shaking things up a little bit. And Stacy says, how long do you sprint for? Literally 2 intervals of 10 seconds or less. I'll get you guys the article on that too. So I'm going to send you the guides, and then I'll make a note here to send you the guides and sprinting. I've seen people that incorporate sprinting and have actually lost within a couple days just by shaking things up. No sprinting till the weather warms up. Okay. Do you have a long hallway that you can go find, Doris? Let's not tell each other let's not tell stories. There's got to be a place that you can go sprint for 10 seconds, or just suck it up, go outside for 10 seconds, do it. That's actually going to be a game changer for most of you, so just remember that. Anyone have a question so far? Go ahead, Sunny. Unmuted.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does it have to be, like you said, you go on the elliptical? Can it be any physical exertion? Could it be swimming or like anything that's getting your heart?
Yeah.
Or does it have to be running?
No, I think it can be like swimming heavily, like quickly. It's that quick power through, heart rate from 0 to 100, whatever the heart rate is supposed to be, 0 to whatever, quickly, versus just slow movement, or just like steadily pacing on a treadmill. Just getting that explosion type of movement is really like a higher intensity quickly is going to break up that stall. So I'll send you guys that article that I found. And then Ryan Lowry and Jacob Wilson actually presented on it. So I'll try and find that too as well. Okay. So this is the last couple are kind of funny. So play is actually really important. So how many times have you guys like played with your dog? Joe's passed out over there. Played with your dog, played with your kids, but like not in coming from like I have to do this type of thing, but like actually played, like play with your husband or your partner, whoever, boyfriend, like, and not in a sexual way, guys. I just mean like genuinely like tickling, joking around, laughing, having fun. Like, when's the last time you guys have done that? Like, I genuinely don't know the last time I've done that, and that's something, again, I would like to work on. But my boxer dog likes to chase him up and down the stairs. Yeah, so I'm actually training with Joe. He actually went to boot camp last week while I was in Fiji, and he's been excellent. So like, I want to just like get him to like go outside and like go play at the dog park or something like that. 1, to get movement in, and 2, continue to train him and just like laugh and have fun. That's actually really important, because I think that we lose that because we're in this whole like crazy, oh my God, I have to work, get point A to point B, get the kids fed, and we just like forget to have fun. Like, fun is so important. It's like insane just how we forget. And then getting sunlight, even if it's cold, Doris, going outside and like getting that sun on your face actually wakes up your hormones. Doris said she went outside and played hide and seek with her doggy. Perfect. But getting those hormones on your face, like vitamin D, is actually really good. Most of us are deficient in vitamin D, but just sitting in the sun for 10, 15 minutes, even if it's cold, really just activates that vitamin D store. Vitamin D is actually supposed to be classified as a hormone versus a vitamin, because it just has so many different processes in the body that it kickstarts. So a lot of autoimmune issues stem from having low vitamin D. So just really just making sure that you're getting that on your face. Of course, sun's coming and we're going to be out a lot more, but especially during the winter months, doing that's pretty important. Avoid stupid mistakes. Now, avoid stupid mistakes back in the caveman paleo days would be, don't let a rock boulder you over. But nowadays it would be, appropriately stepping on a footstool, or not texting and driving, or eating and driving, keeping your eyes on the road and just being more aware of life in general. And then number 10 would be using your brain. So just really, if you like to paint, that's cool. If you like to Rubik's Cube or just brain games, try to avoid your cell phones. when you're doing these types of activities, it's just really important to just get your creative side like going. Like, how many people feel they're creative and like just are stifled? I like to write and just really get my brain working. I'm already thankfully naturally creative, but you know, just having fun and doing that is super important as well. And then really just getting sleep. I'm just adding another one here. Getting appropriate sleep, but at appropriate times. We are on this go, 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 go type of mentality, hustle, get things done. But we forget that going to bed with the circadian rhythms is actually detrimental to our health, because, you know, the sun is actually a signal to our bodies that it's time to either go to sleep or wake up. So really trying to get in sync with those sun rhythms is pretty important. Obviously do it when you can. Sleep with a dark room. The Artist's Way is a great book to help with creative blocks. Ooh, thank you. I learned something from you today, Sunny. The Artist's Way. Perfect. I just wrote that down. So yeah, I mean, does anyone have questions or anything? I know it's like kind of just packing all of that stuff. I'll send you the Hacker's Guide, which just has some like tips and tricks on how to execute keto. Talks about electrolytes and stuff like that. And like water consumption and not over consuming nuts and stuff like that, kind of things we touched on. But I'm gonna unmute you all, and then feel free to like either yell out, call out, do whatever you need.
I'm not trying to say anything. I didn't know you said something.
I don't know.
I can't see or hear that you're talking about.
Stacy, are you trying to talk? No?
No, sorry. I just got home and my phone unmuted in my pocket. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. All right, guys. So I just want to open it. I know there's a lot of information, 2 hours worth. So I just kind of want to open it up to you guys. Feel free to ask questions, chat them in the chat box. Anything specific to you that we covered, or anything specific that we covered, or anything specific to you personally. I am now ready to answer questions. Or not.
I feel like I asked all my questions.
No, I mean, that's good. I feel like you're on the right track. I think you and Julie can definitely speak more together in like a 3-way chat. And yeah, I mean, we can definitely speak more. I mean, I could talk about exogenous ketones, but I feel like a lot of y'all are already on them. Looking for guidelines with using ketones, when to take. Okay, so ketones are fuel. So when you feel like you need fuel up. So for you specifically, Natalie, if you're about to do a CrossFit workout, I would take them strategically 30 minutes prior to your workout, because it's been shown, and I'm actually going to get you I'm taking notes literally. Send Natalie ketone supplement CrossFit study. There's a huge study that went on with Ryan and Jacob that they did with CrossFitters. So that actually might be pretty beneficial to you. But there's no right or wrong way to strategically take them. I guess the strategery would be, if you are going to cheat, nope, I don't like that word, have a higher carb meal, take it 30 minutes pre, and then 2 hours post. You take them 2 hours or 30 minutes prior to your high carb, you're going to have ketones in your system, put you in ketosis. Then you're going to have your higher carb. Those carbs will burn while you have ketones in your system. And then as soon as those carbs are finished burning, you're going to have more ketones 2 hours post to continue to make sure you're in ketosis. And then those carbs will not go into your fat stores and spike your insulin. So hopefully that made sense. Does that answer your question, Nat? Perfect. Do ketones count as your water intake? No, ketones are a diuretic. So when you are drinking your ketones, it actually is going to dehydrate you. So drinking ketones and doing the ketogenic diet is a diuretic, has a diuretic effect, meaning you pee a lot. So when they talk on blogs and we talk on in groups about how you just pee your ketones out, that actually is not true. You're having a diuretic effect. Your body will use ketones and excrete the ones that you most likely don't need. But no, they're not just pee the ketones out. If you actually put your urine stick inside a ketone that's already shaken up, it actually will look clear. So that just proves that the ketones are actually going inside your system, will be used, because your body can't tell the difference between a your body can't tell the difference between a ketone that you drank or a ketone that you produced. So Sunny, did that just light bulb off for you?
Yeah.
So going back to my tangent of what I'm saying is, so that it's a diuretic effect. So you're going to actually lose micronutrients. So micronutrients are sodium, potassium, magnesium. These are electrolytes. So when you have the keto flu, 99% of the time you have a keto flu is because you've lost all your electrolytes and you need to replace them. I use 40,000 volts electrolyte. Most of you guys know. I don't have any in stock, so I can post in our group the electrolyte link to where to get them. But those are really just good for replenishment. When I started actually physically taking them on top of the ketones, it actually gave me a boost of energy, because one, your body's actually already nutritionally depleted from where it is genetically designed to have. So like all of our food does not have the vitamins and nutrients it used to back in the day. So because of GMO and because of the soil and cross-pollination and stuff like that, so we lose a lot of those electrolytes because of just straight food sources. Add insult to injury when you are drinking ketones or on a ketogenic diet and losing those electrolytes, you're already deficient. So Rochelle, hopefully that answered your question. I definitely would recommend doing ketones or electrolytes. No, we're not going to have our own Facebook page. We can just utilize our regular one. A lot of people say that I did a 21-day challenge back in January, and everyone's like, you have so many groups. I really only have a VIP group and my regular group and then the challenge group, and I just don't want to add another group. So we can just talk whatever you guys need, just post in that group. And then it'll get people interested in joining us for the next time. So
what's the group name?
My group is Keto Lifestyle with Mandy. It's like, let me grab the link and I'll put it in. It's like No Carbs Please or something. There you go. It's facebook.com/group/No Carbs Please. Because I tried to do Keto Lifestyle and it didn't work. So
okay.
I like that one anyway. The link doesn't really matter. We can do our own chat, Natalie, if you want. But I feel like we just use our own group. No need to make more work for all of us, you know.
Mandy, do you have to accept us, or are we automatically just joined?
I have to approve you.
Okay, so just my name is like Dr. Seuss, Sam I Am.
Okay.
On Facebook, I'm not Sunny.
Okay, no, that's fine. Dr. Seuss, I'll remember that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Rochelle, hopefully I answered your electrolyte question. So yeah, like just getting electrolytes are super important. And again, Mio is not an electrolyte. Anyone else have any specific questions? I'm happy to keep going if we'd like. Don't be shy. Doris is just asking if the reboot. So, okay. That was something actually some of you had asked, and I don't know if everyone on here does or does not know. Okay, so a 60-hour reboot, I was actually doing them with just pure therapeutic ketones and water and electrolytes for 60 hours. The reason why you do this is because you want to force your body into nutritional ketosis or ketogenesis. And when you do this, you're restricting calories and you're restricting carbs. So it forces your body to produce its own ketones. And normally when you fast, if anybody's ever done a fast or a juice cleanse or something like that, you have this period of time where you feel really shitty. The reason why you feel shitty is because you're actually depleting your body of all that glycogen and you're not replacing it with ketone energy. So your body's like, where's my carbs? And it's in that transition period. But you actually skipped the transition period because you're supplementing with exogenous ketones. So you're getting there further faster. And your body's like, oh my God, I have ketones. I don't need the carbs. I'm running on the ketones. So it's actually going to switch over into a dual fuel within 60 hours. So your body's producing ketones and you're drinking ketones. Your body doesn't know if you're producing them or drinking them, using them the same. You're straight into fat burn mode within 60 hours or less. Your cognitive function is going to be better. Your inflammation is going to be reduced. Those aches and pains that you have all the time are probably going to dissipate. You're going to have reduced carb cravings, and that's going to set you up for success in the longer run of your keto journey because you're in nutritional ketosis while eating ketogenically, while supplementing with ketones. It really just is a game changer. So we actually am not sure if we have them on sale for April, but get back with whoever invited you here to get one of those. The March reboots are March 11th, so they're already sold out and gone. But the April ones are, I think, still on sale. I'm not really 100% sure. But those are amazing because it's more than just ketone energy. It actually has Signal OS, which is AC11. AC11 is a DNA repair, so it basically helps your mitochondria function properly and really give you an edge with your ketones, because paired with the ketones and the AC11, it helps you stay in a ketosis longer with the drinks and then helps produce those ketones in your body. It has the Keto Tea, which actually helps you with sleep. Sleep is a tool and a weapon. You guys just remember that. So make sleep a priority. But the Keto Calm puts you in I swear I get high from it. I know it's funny, but I drink that Keto Calm and I'm instantly I feel so much better. So that is included in the reboot kit. You get a couple of packets of those. You get the ketones itself, caffeine free, raspberry lemonade, I believe. And then you get keto broth. So that's actually really good for gut health. So your gut signals with the Keto OS and the Keto Signal OS as well, just to connect the dots. So what they say is that it works synergistically together. I'll get everyone a PDF of what all is included in this reboot, but I've done the old school way. I think Doris has done the old school way of rebooting as well, which is just the ketone energy from the exogenous ketones and then water and electrolytes. But using this reboot new optimized system that Prove It actually provides is a game changer and so much easier. It helps you not only get into ketosis, but it actually gives you a more conscious awareness of your snacking, your dependency on food, your differentiator between do you need ketone or do you need food, or are you just hungry, or do you thinking you're hungry? So separating hunger versus need or want. It just really has helped so many people just get into that state. So let me know if you guys have questions on that as well. And then I think that's all I got. No one else has questions. Kelly, come on, I see you. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm excited to do the reboot. I got my pack yesterday, actually.
Good.
So it seems like it would be easier to have the broth and the tea to get you through this time.
Yeah. Did you do the old school way?
I did.
It's not as hard.
Yeah, I had a hard time. I actually went through a phase where I was kind of like was in and out. I had brain fog so bad, but then once I got past it, I was okay.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is individual. Every single time I do a reboot, I have different experience. I did, and I'm not advising and or allowing and or supposed to really tell this, but I actually did 155 hours with the supervision of Dr. Jeremy. I never felt better, to be quite honest. I have stuffy nose allergies, symptom something. I don't know what that is. We're working through that. But I had no inflammation at all. My energy was through the roof. I was freaking hungry. I was thinking in my mind I was hungry, but I think it was just my stomach just repairing. But it was not, I would do it again for sure. Again, not advising anyone to do that, but I did it for my own autoimmune issues. But for anyone doing like technically longer than 84 hours, I believe needs to be a medically supervised fast. So you can do the 60-hour reboot and extend, but not any longer than 84, I believe.
Gotcha. Was there ever a part where when you first go into it, I don't know how to say this, when you first go into it, you're all gung-ho, but did you ever hit a low part and then pop back over?
Yeah, several times, the 155 hours. The 60-hour ones, it took me 2 or 3 times to actually do a whole 60 hours. But then once I broke that plane of 60 hours, I was like, okay, I'll go longer. But then there's periods of, it really depends on like your environmental toxins. Like you have 100,000 environmental toxins before you even leave the house every day that hit you every day, that affects your cellular functions every day. Then you go outside into the actual environment and you're hit with a whole bunch more. So that's why just standalone is a good reason to reboot. But then for, just if you have a higher carb couple days or whatever, and you feel like you just want to flush out and start over again and get into ketogenesis, that 60 hours is a really good way to do it. But it's good to just do it once a month just to reset everything. You shut your phone off, you shut your computers off, TVs, everything gets rebooted. Your body's designed to go feast and famine. And when you go feast and famine, there's periods of time where you go hunting, right? Back in the and they didn't need food, but they would go into hunting mode because they would go into ketosis. So they're laser focused, their energy's up, they know they need to be in that state, and then they would find their food and then eat and then go again in periods of time. It's completely natural, it's super genetically A-okay to do at least once a month.
Well, I will be doing that, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, good. Anyone else?
So if I was all geared up to do this March one, and again, I don't know anything about, so I did like this class. So since I've been mentally preparing for it and ready for it, is there something else I can do, or should I really just wait till April?
You can do the old school way. I would suggest getting a box of Max. You and Julie can talk about like your best options. But doing the keto, it's not, I've done it. Like I've coached so many people through just a regular old school reboot. It's just that like a lot of people were teaching how to do the old school reboots satellite ways, like off in their own. Prove It decided to do a whole company-wide optimized reboot. That was a lot easier, but it doesn't mean it's less effective doing it with ketones. So you can do ketones, water, electrolytes, and have success. Doris said she liked the old way. Better, there's no better. It's really individual. So we can get you on I'll send you my old protocol. It's literally, don't overthink it. It's ketones when you need fuel, water, a shit ton of it, and then electrolytes a couple times a day as well. And it will just for 60 hours. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. Anyone else? Well, if you guys need anything for the next couple of days, like definitely feel free to like reach out. I'm happy because I know this is a crap ton to digest. Maybe think of anything for the next like 24, 48 hours, just shoot me a message, let me know. I'm going to be in conferences like all day until Wednesday, but I'll do my best. I mean, I'm pretty free tonight. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. But happy to help and all that fun stuff. And then,
I have one last question. Sorry.
No problem.
Is there going to be a link so I can come back and watch the first hour? Can I just access it through this?
Yeah, this is going to probably take a couple hours to download because it was pretty long.
Okay.
We'll download
But you email it?
Yeah, I'll email everybody a copy.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. And if you need anything at all, feel free to reach out if you think of anything. I am not going to post in the paid stores just because all of y'all paid to be here. So you guys get access to that. And then anyone that originally signed up the first or whatever. But actually I think because I didn't sell 30, it sold, I don't even know. But we're all going to do a follow-up. So if I'm going to do I'll email everyone, just email me back and let me know like when's a good time to like do another follow-up coaching while you guys have some questions and stuff like that. And then think about some topics or whatever that may arise. And then we will go from there and jump back on Zoom at some point. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.